Hello and welcome to week 13. Excited to be back again. It's been a little bit. Wasn't able to hop on last week. Had my kid a little sick last week and wasn't able to hop on and share some stuff there as far as that slate goes. But we're on and here, week 13. We are getting closer and closer to the fantasy football playoffs, which is exciting, of course, right? And I know a lot of you who are going to be hopping on shortly and are on right now are probably inching closer to that opportunity. Without further ado, let's get right into the slate. We are, as always, going to give details here. DraftKings, this is the Fantasy Football Millionaire. As always, there's different strategies into these type of contests and tournaments. So for this one right here, this is a bigger pool. So you want to be more cognizant of how trying to get away from all the big plays that everybody's going to be on, which we call chalk in DFS. So you want to stay away from the high ownership players and try to get some contrarian looks. You know, obviously there's going to be some plays you're going to want to play. One of the guys today that's going to be a big play is going to be Devon Achane. It's a very different looking slate just because we had Thanksgiving this week and we had the Black Friday game. So there's been multiple games already played out. As you see here, we have the Los Angeles Rams versus Carolina. We have San Francisco, Cleveland, Houston, Indianapolis, New Orleans, Miami, Atlanta, New Jersey, Arizona, Tampa Bay. And as you get closer to the later slate, they're not the best games. Jacksonville, Tennessee, Minnesota, Seattle, Las Vegas, Chargers, Buffalo at Pittsburgh. Let's get right into that game, specifically Buffalo at Pittsburgh. And I want to talk about this because if you're looking at the quarterbacks on this slate right now, they don't seem appealing whatsoever outside of the top paying guy in Josh Allen. He is $7,500, right around the price point that we usually like to pay for a Josh Allen type player. High upside, 50 fantasy point kind of guy. You don't really need to break too much down with him. But one thing I did want to talk about in regards to this game, and I know a lot of people are questioning some things today. They are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose defense has been getting better, but still isn't anywhere near what we're typically used to. But one of the big news coming out of that game is Josh Allen's going to be without his top two tackles, I should say, his left and his right tackles, and Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. That's huge, y'all. These are one of the top two duels in the league, Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. This is going to cause a lot of issues. This is something that if you are the Steelers defense, you are hopping in this hoping to find a way to execute this, just simply because of how important this win is for them. But more importantly, too, this is a huge game for the Buffalo Bills. They're going to need to pull this out. So when I was looking at ownership today and just getting a little feel for what the field likes today, the field is kind of leaning in on guys like Jacoby Brissett, Tua, CJ Stroud. You know, they're leaning on some other cheaper guys, which is leaving Josh Allen at very low ownership. Let me tell you something. On a slate like this, when you have the opportunity to play Josh Allen without guys like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, who's been really bad the last couple of weeks, but we're not going to get into that. And just other guys like Patrick Mahomes and guys who have been able to put up big numbers on a given slate, it's so much easier, in my opinion, to click on a Josh Allen. So if you're playing more of a single lineup today and not playing multiple lineups, I don't think there's a bad way of going here by you going with Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford is another guy I'm intrigued by today. He's playing the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are going to be without their safety, Trevin Morehead, something like that. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He is the safety who we just saw recently in this past game hit the San Francisco player in Juwan Jennings. And for that, suspended. He gave him a nice little low blow. And now out for this game. They are also out many players on that defensive end, including their best corner in Horn. And that's going to be a big part too. So many are expecting the Los Angeles Rams to go in this and get this win easily. So if you like Matthew Stafford today, how do we stack Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford's the kind of guy you're going to probably want to stack Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. But when we talk about Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, look at their price point. Two of the top three highest paid players today. So there are many questions that you can ask yourself today, right? What kind of ceilings do we get from a Matthew Stafford? I'm looking for different strategies. I'm looking for different things and how to build today, right? So you're seeing here 22 fantasy points, 26, 26, 27, right? At this price point here of 7,000, we want that type of output, right? We want that type of fantasy points, and that's what we need. Sometimes at 7,000, you want him to go over that 30-point mark, and he's only gotten 30 once in week 4. The reason why I'm bringing all of that is because I think there are ways to play this slate without Matthew Stafford. Now, again, the matchup is pretty, especially with all the guys that are out. But the Los Angeles Rams have a tendency, Matthew Stafford could go out there and throw 3 to 4 touchdowns. The question is, how many yards are the Carolina Panthers going to do enough to push this game environment to get Matthew Stafford to throw the ball more and get you the fantasy point output that you want? I'm going to lean no. And a lot of that is just due to the type of player that Matthew Stafford is. When you talk about a guy like Josh Allen's in a different game environment, one where he's missing 2 of his biggest asset players in front of him that would keep him protected. So if you're looking for the super Josh type of game, this is the type of game environment they need. Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams are at the top of the leaderboard right now as far as standings goes. They're one of the best teams in the NFL right now. That is another thing that I want to play into this decision making as well. So I believe that if you think that guys like Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, which more than likely are the reason why they are winning this game, then I have no problems playing them without Matthew Stafford. You want to play both of them? That's fine. But you're going to need both of them to reach their upside at their price points as well. So maybe going with one of the guys, the one you lean on the most, usually Puka Nacua, especially at that price point, feels a little more safer. But man, 9,000 is a lot, right? So Devontae Adams, one of the things with Devontae Adams that we know, he leads the league in end zone touchdowns. So that's going to be a big part of why you may want to swing that way. But Puka Nacua, there are ways to get them, and I'm going to break that down too. There are cheaper players, there are cheaper quarterbacks, and I mentioned Tua being one of those guys. He's only 4,900. If Tua can get you one of those bigger games, you could see here he's gotten those 22, 24 fantasy point games. If he can get you anywhere near that, and he has been capable in the past of getting you close to 30 fantasy point games when he has big outputs. When you have guys like Devon Achane who are going to be popular plays today, and maybe tagging all along a Jalen Waddle with Achane and Tua, I like that kind of double stack, and then just adding one of those guys that you think is going to go off in that Rams games, because there's a good chance that that's the case today. Kyren Williams is going to be one of those running backs that I'll touch on shortly as soon as I'm done here with the quarterback position. Just a little note here, if you guys are hopping on, I appreciate you guys. Please leave a comment below in regards to your start sit questions. I'm going to go into those as soon as I'm done breaking down this slate. Please leave how many teams are in your league, and if it's a PPR, half PPR league, and I'll get to your questions. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. Please make sure to like and subscribe as well. Another quarterback that I mentioned that will be a popular play today, we've seen Davis Mills and what he's been able to do with this Houston offense. CJ Stroud is now back. We haven't seen as much from CJ Stroud outside of a game. I think it was against the Ravens, and he did so against San Francisco as well. Here goes the Ravens game where he dropped 28 fantasy points. So we know it's in his cards. We know he's capable of it. CJ Stroud's now been out for a few weeks. And if I'm CJ Stroud, I'm thinking about how Davis Mills walked in here and was able to push this offense a little more than I was able to do. This is a big game for CJ Stroud to come in there and do so. Indianapolis Colts run a lot of man defense, and I think that that's going to be really good for CJ Stroud when he's playing with guys like Nico Collins. Jaden Higgins is his other counterparts, which we've seen Jaden Higgins as of late his numbers have been popping. He's been getting about 7 to 9 targets each game. I'm a little hesitant about playing a Jaden Higgins today, and the only reason why is because all of these big outlier games have come with Davis Mills in there. Now, there's a chance that the offense is really pushing him more. I do like Jaden Higgins. I do like the talent, and I think he's fully capable. At 3,900, he is absolutely worth the shot to take today, especially if you're double stacking. But of course, the guy you want to lean on the most is going to be the guy up top, and it's going to be Nico Collins, who's at 6,700. Nico Collins has the capability in this type of, look at this, 26 fantasy points, 25, 24, in this type of slate that we have a lot of the less heavy hitters, like the Jamar Chase of the world and such. This is still a pretty good play, especially at his price. There are other guys. We have JSN, Puka Nakul, we just mentioned right now, obviously 9,500, 9,000. And I'm going to get to one of the other guys that I really, really like shortly here. One more quarterback that I did want to mention is in a really good position today. It's Justin Herbert playing this Las Vegas Raiders team, who we've seen their defense has really fallen apart. Things have not looked the same for them. And if there's a guy who I think is capable of also putting up big numbers, it's this guy, Justin Herbert here. Now, he's had issues. It's funny. We're talking about Josh Allen missing his 2 top tackles. Well, Justin Herbert has been missing his top 2 tackles for the most of the season. And he's been without, who is it, Rashawn Slater and the kid from Notre Dame, which is right now probably losing my mind right now, Alt, right? Yeah, Joe Alt. And Justin Herbert, he's going to be in this type of environment. I think he gets pushed a little bit more. At some point, we're going to have to see this offense look a little bit different with the Las Vegas Raider. Geno Smith has not looked great at all this year. I would not tell you guys to play him, but I do expect Geno Smith to at some point have a good game. I'm not playing him, but if there is a quarterback on the other side that I believe can push this type of game environment a little bit more, would be Geno Smith. So for that, I like playing Justin Herbert. The running back today that's going to be very popular on the other side of this same matchup right here is Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty is going to be a much popular play today. We're seeing, obviously his number 64. His price point is 6,400. And if you look at his last couple of games, we've gotten a lot of these double-digit games. One of the big things about Jeanty and what his fantasy points go, I know that when they do have a lead, which has been rare, obviously this year, when they do have a lead and they are in position to win, Jeanty's offensive numbers really go up. Obviously, you saw this price here when he was 6,200 at 37.5 points. So Ashton Jeanty is absolutely in position for today as far as a play that you can get to as well. One more quarterback. I know I mentioned Justin Herbert would be my last quarterback that I wanted to throw, but man, Trevor Lawrence is at 5,400. Trevor Lawrence, there was a stat that I was looking at earlier that I'm going to pull up shortly here. But Trevor Lawrence, I know, has been very disappointing, right? Of course. And one of the things with Trevor Lawrence is how mistake prone he could be. And then also, if you're watching these games, one of the other issues that has been for him has been a lot of his wide receivers dropping passes. But one of the big boosts that he gets today is not only does he get to play versus this Tennessee Titans secondary, but he gets Brian Thomas Jr. back. And we're hoping at this point, Brian Thomas Jr. is a lot healthier because he's looked pretty bad to start the year. We all know what Brian Thomas Jr. is capable. This is kind of the stack that I'm really intrigued by today to get into a little Trevor Lawrence with Brian Thomas Jr. and Jacoby Myers, which we have seen that worked really nice. And Trevor Lawrence has had some talks in his press conferences as well, saying how easy it has been to throw to a guy like Jacoby Myers. Here's a stat that I was looking up earlier and I saw and I wanted to share. Since week 5, Trevor Lawrence is the QB9 in points per game, and that's 19.9. The Titans right now are 26 in passing points allowed per attempt and allowing a 69.9% completion rate, 7.8 yards per pass attempt, and a 5.1% touchdown rate, which puts them at 20th in the league. Jacksonville needs to win games. They need to push it. This is a divisional game as well. And if you need them, if they think they're going to fall into the playoffs, they're going to have to do this at the helm of Trevor Lawrence. Another player in that team that's going to be a high popular play today is Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is 6,500. I'm a big believer that Bishal Tuin is slowly but surely creeping up to get that job. But in this type of matchup, Etienne kind of fits nicely. So Etienne is a play that I would consider. And if you want to consider him with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think that's also a bad move. You could tell by his targets, 3, 5, 4. He gets into the passing game as well. I know Tutin should be getting involved there a lot more sooner, but I think Etienne is still there. He also has that rapport in Clemson with Trevor Lawrence when they played together. All right, that's the quarterbacks that I wanted to get into, and I know I mentioned a few of his running backs as well. We got James Cook in this matchup as well versus the Steelers team. We just saw the Steelers team play the Bears last week and made it really tough for that run game. This is another spot here where I'm just going to say I'm really leaning heavy on Josh Allen today. So I don't think James Cook is a bad play today. I think that you should be starting him if he is one of your players in your home leagues. But I'm leaning more into this passing game. But one thing that I have liked about James Cook that I need to share is that they have started to get him a little more involved in the passing game. And I think that plays really huge here. So if you are interested in playing a James Cook and a Josh Allen, who Josh Allen is really difficult to pair with guys in terms of who that wide receiver is. I know Curtis Samuel is out for this game. They activated Keon Coleman, and Brandon Cooks is expected to play as well. Again, a lot of names out there to throw around, and we're not sure who that guy is. If you think this is the type of game environment where the Bills get ahead and they take off, I don't think it's a problem playing James Cook and Josh Allen together. Christian McCaffrey is going to be a big name today. Not many are going to play, obviously because of the price point, 9,300. But the matchup, a lot of people have paid respect to the Cleveland Browns due to their run defense and how good it's been this year. This game is one of the games today that's going to have a lot of wind and weather concerns. I think this is the right game to lean a little more heavily on the run. Christian McCaffrey, and that also make Quinshon Judkins on the other end as well as a really solid play. Quinshon Judkins is 6,200. It's not a bad price for a guy who has shown upside, 26 fantasy points and such. And I think at some point he's going to have to give you a little more, especially with the Browns in position that they are. They also have Shedeur Sanders, who is starting at quarterback. And again, if the wind is going to be an issue, we just saw this right now with for the game right now in Black Friday with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears playing. Wind became an issue. Both quarterbacks were having very difficult times throwing the football, and the run game became a little more relevant, especially on the Chicago Bears side. So I expect that a little bit more, but I do in this passing attack, as far as this game goes right here, San Francisco and Cleveland, I really do like Juwan Jennings. I think this is the type of matchup that he plays really strong in, and we should be expecting a much better Brock Purdy day, but without a shock, Cleveland Browns are going to be one of the popular defenses in DFS today. Just want to mention again, if you guys have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions, start sit questions, I'm more than happy to answer. We're going to get right to this next position. We mentioned running back. I do want to mention Jonathan Taylor. I think that's a big conversation point here. He is really expensive. We need this type of outing. We need these 40, 52 fantasy point games to really make him a solid play today. Not that he's not capable of it. He's absolutely capable of it. This Houston's defense is tough, especially the run defense has been really tough. Their secondary is good. And right now that quarterback position for Daniel Jones, we heard that he is currently dealing with a very tough injury, which is going to probably make it a little bit difficult for him to be throwing the football around today or just getting really involved. So obviously we expect Jonathan Taylor to be the guy. Indianapolis has this tendency of starting the games off passing. They get hot there and then they kind of let Jonathan Taylor trail off and take over and basically end the game by turning the clock. Today they're just going to have to lean very heavy, which obviously makes him more intriguing play, but 9,800 is high. 9,800 is high versus a very tough defense. I don't blame you for not playing. I wouldn't blame you if you did play him, only because of the injury that we're hearing about Daniel Jones, meaning they're just going to have no other choice but to lean on this run. Wide receivers. Let's get right to this wide receiver position here. So I mentioned some of the top guys up here. I do love Ladd McConkey. I mentioned how Justin Herbert is a solid play today. Ladd McConkey, see, one of the hardest things about playing Justin Herbert is figuring out who out of those wide receivers are the guys to lean on. I think the best way to mention these wide receivers is, or basically his receiving core, I should say, because I do have the tight end Oronde Gadsden in the mix here too as a play that I think you should be playing today. Ladd McConkey, Oronde Gadsden, and Quentin Johnston, and then Keenan Allen would be the way I would rank them. So that would be McConkey, that would be Oronde Gadsden, that would be Quentin Johnston, and then Keenan Allen. Monty Vidal, I didn't mention him when we were talking about running back. He's also in good position. We should be seeing maybe Omarion Hampton at some point next week. We'll know how much they let him go and get loose as far as his role is. Another guy to mention today, we are talking about this Bucks and Arizona game now. This one's huge. Jacoby Brissett is in a position which we've already seen him drop 30 fantasy points. 5,800 is price point is creeping up from the days when we were playing him at 42, 45, 47. I mean, this is crazy. I was playing him multiple times here when he was under 5,000. Now his price is getting right where his performance is kind of outweighing that price. So when you look at his position, one of the biggest players that people have been playing has been Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson has had really strong outings while Marvin Harrison Jr. has been out. 18, 15 targets. Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. is expected to play today. So if Marvin Harrison Jr. is expected to play today, and we already know the role Trey McBride has, what does that mean for Michael Wilson? We shall see. I expect, obviously, his target share to go much down because I expect them to try to get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved. The question is, can Michael Wilson outplay his tag? And I think 5,900 now, we're getting to a point where we need these type of outputs. So if we were to get some news that just randomly pops out where Marvin Harrison Jr. is not able to play, then Michael Wilson gets back into that conversation. For me, at that price point, makes it a little bit difficult. And for home leagues, I think he's more of a wide receiver 3 flex kind of player. So I don't hate starting him. I don't think he's a bad start. Obviously, it just really depends on who your 1v1 question may come down to. DK Metcalf is also in a great spot here. But again, there are some questions here with Aaron Rodgers being back. We'll see how that works, but Pittsburgh Steelers need to push it. And this is the best time when it comes to fantasy and daily fantasy. A lot of these players have to push it. They have no choice but to push it, just given their circumstances when it comes to the standings in their division or even in the conference, as they all try to get into this playoff race, just like we're doing in our fantasy football teams. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to name a guy. Most of you guys, if you watch my show and have heard me talk about, John Mechie is going to be a guy a lot of people like. And that's cool. I think John Mechie is a good play. I think he's more of a gadget kind of guy. I know he's been getting peppered a little bit more, and I think obviously those touchdowns has helped him. I think he's played really well for the Jets, and I do like him as a play. I still like Adonai Mitchell. I think overall target share wise, he still has the higher target share. Obviously, the fantasy points haven't hit yet. But I think at some point we're going to have to start seeing it as he continues to build rapport with Tyrod Taylor. I like Adonai Mitchell at 3,600 today. Shocker, shocker, shocker. But I will be playing him. Keon Coleman, we mentioned him. If you think that there's going to be this game where he pops right after finally being active and some of the guys being out, this could be the game you may want to keep an eye out for, especially at that price. I think it's worth a shot at Keon Coleman at his price point at 3,500, especially with how hard it is to stack Josh Allen. Sometimes going to the cheaper players down below. We're expecting Gabe Davis to also be active, but it's always harder to pay up for some of his other counterparts just simply because of their price points and who it may be today. We are expecting Ayumaner to be back for the Tennessee Titans today, and Chiga Okonkwo is also expected to be back. One of the guys that I was really, really interested in that game, outside of DK, who has been playing pretty solid for them as well. And Cam Ward is, by the way, an option for today, just given the type of matchup that they have versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Gunnar Helm, and I'll slide over to tight end real quick. Gunnar Helm's numbers have been climbing. He was drafted by this regime this season, and if you're paying attention to his numbers have gone up. He is currently 2,600. Look at his target share. This is a kid I really like coming out of Texas, and I think he's been really good, and I think he's going to get involved more and more as he continues to build rapport with Cam Ward. As far as tight ends go, Trey McBride is 7,800. It's insane, right, to see him at that price point. If you want to just view him as a wide receiver and say, well, he's worth it, especially given on this slate, I get it. It makes so much sense because he's fully capable of these. Look at this, 29, 30, 30 fantasy points, and he's still got Jacoby Brissett, who throws the rock a lot to him. He's been the featured guy in that offense, and I think it's not a bad play, even at 7,800 once again, which is crazy, which is going to keep his ownership very, very low. Brock Bowers is a solid play, especially if you think Las Vegas, like I mentioned, if there's some way that this Las Vegas Raiders team can push just to get Justin Herbert in the position you may want him if you're playing him in daily fantasy today, Brock Bowers is a great play to bring back. We have George Kittle on this slate. I don't need to mention too much about him. Tyler Warren just got announced in. He is expected to play. You have Gatson down here. Kyle Pitts Sr. has not played well. We are expecting Darren Waller back today. Haven't seen any news recently if that's changed. And then you have obviously Michael Mayer being out. That's huge for Brock Bowers as well. Bowers has been lining up a lot as a wide receiver, so they're going to need him more as a tight end, and that puts him in space, which is where he's even more deadlier. This is one of my favorite plays today, and I forgot to mention the other wide receiver one. I'm going to mention it and get right into your questions. I love Taysom Hill today. Taysom Hill at the tight end position, 2,700 is so cheap. And Taysom Hill is so intriguing today because you have Alvin Kamara out, you have Devin Neal in, and if there's anybody who's going to get rush attempts, look at this, 10 rushing attempts, 7 rushing attempts, and no Alvin Kamara, this guy is capable of putting up so many fantasy points. You may not see it here for this season because obviously he was hurt for the good portion of the earlier half of the season. But if you know Taysom Hill and you know what he's capable of, Kellen Moore has yet to really get him involved the way he's been or the way he used to get involved with Sean Payton and such. I think today would not surprise me at all if he finds a way to get in the box and also score a few rushing touchdowns. That's right, a few rushing touchdowns. It would not surprise me. I really like Taysom Hill today. I think he's extremely sneaky. My wide receiver should not be sneaky. Should be a player we've been expecting really good game from. And it's Justin Jefferson. This is the reason why we get Max Brosmer in today. Seattle's a tough defense for sure. But J.J. McCarthy has not looked the part. J.J. McCarthy has looked bad. They have not gotten any type of connection going. I expect Max Brosmer to come in and really feature Justin Jefferson heavily today. And if you don't think that they'll have any real true connections in catching, one of my favorite prop plays today is 8.5 targets for Justin Jefferson. I believe he's going to go way higher than that double digit. We're talking about, I think he's going to get anywhere from 10 to 12 targets today. I think they're going to get him really, really involved. As you see, look at this, 6, 9, 12, 9, 11, 10. I think they're going to eventually have to push him. I mean, we saw it with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz came in and started pushing him a little bit more, started giving you better fantasy points. And nobody's going to play him because they're scared of him. They think he's pretty much dust and he's not doing his part. A lot of it just had to do because of the quarterback position. All right, y'all, let's get to some of these questions here. Thank you guys so much for staying on. I appreciate that. I'm going to get right into some of these questions here. We have Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for hopping on. Full PPR flex start. Okay. Oh, Parker, Washington, Chris Godwin, Jordan, Addison. My brother. Full PPR flex start. I am going to lean. Wow. I'm really leaning Chris Godwin here, and that scares me to say. We still have Mike Evans out. Ibuka is a big play today. But I just feel like that game is so important for Tampa. Chris Godwin, if you want to get a little risky today, but Jordan Addison for sure is the safer play. We just don't know who Max Brosmer likes right now, and I just expect him to be heavily targeting what's his name, Justin Jefferson. So I lean Chris Godwin. It's a tough one. Parker Washington has been good, but we got BTJ back. We got Jacoby Myers. We have Brenton Strange. Parker Washington gets a lot of his targets. When you watch him, he gets a lot of his targets on a lot of design plays. So it makes it a little hard in PPR. But, man, yeah. Chris Godwin, if you need this win big time. Jordan Addison, if you need a safer play. John, thank you for hopping on. Would you take a shot on Keon Coleman in regular PPR leagues? I have QJ. I know you're going to hate me for saying this. I just like QJ. Keon Coleman is a shot for daily fantasy. I don't hate it if it's between those two. I'm just going to leave Quentin Johnston due to the matchup and his rapport already with Justin Herbert. I know he's had a few stinkers, and we could just pull it up here because it's been tough. I get it, and I've suggested him, and I think it's been to you a few times, and he has not gotten it. Look at his 3 targets, 0 reception. Yet another game, 0 reception. But one of his things is he is a red zone threat, and I like him in this matchup for sure. I think the guy who's taken the biggest hit in that offense has been Keenan Allen in terms of target share goes. Lad McConkey being there. But yeah, we expect Justin Herbert to throw anywhere from 3 to 4 touchdowns. Quentin Johnson has to be one of those guys. Has to be. But yeah, if it's between those two guys, I would lean QJ. But I don't hate Keon Coleman, especially for DFS today. I think he's an interesting play at his price point. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you so much for hopping on the show. If you can give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, I would appreciate it. Right on the bottom down there in the ticker shows the Instagram page, the TikTok page. Got to put out more stuff. We are getting near and close to the end of the season, which means best ball season is slowly but surely arriving. I have been doing a lot of research for next season and looking forward to sharing some of that as we get into some of those best ball playoffs and also best ball off-season stuff for next year. Good luck today. Good luck in your leagues. And if you guys are inching out some of those wins, I really, really hope you guys get that W today. Take care. Thank you so much, and peace.